Pam, do you want to speak into any big statewide issues coming up this year?
Well, for me, it would be school choice. So, I'm hoping that there'll be legislation this year to expand school choice. Again, the type of program that I briefly described earlier. The important thing, though, here, too, is it needs to be bipartisan support. Even if the Republicans are in control, and they won't be total control, we know that, school choice programs need to have Democrats and Republicans on board to be successful, because for one reason, a lot of the communities that will mostly benefit from these kinds of programs are filled with Democrats and Democrat leaders. And so that's very, very important. I think there's a danger when, I'll take my Independence Institute hat off for a minute. I've been an active Republican for a long time, not so much in the last few years, but certainly way in the past. And sometimes Republicans, and probably Democrats too, they don't want the other side involved because they want all the credit so that then they can say that, look what we passed. But this is the kind of program where we need to come together. Governor Romer, whoops, if I can get on my soapbox real quick. There's a flyer advertising this paper out on the table, if there are any left, on the road of innovation. Colorado's charter school law turns 20. I interviewed almost everybody involved at the time of the charter school law, the important players. And one of the things that's so exciting is how the Democrats and the Republicans came together. If it wasn't for Roy Romer, who was governor at the time, it wouldn't have passed. May have passed later, but it wouldn't have passed then. And so Republicans and Democrats can work together and improve education for kids. But we've got to allow that to happen.
Oh, go ahead, Deb. Yeah.
I could add another one, and maybe Brad would speak to this, but it's the whole issue of data privacy, and it's great that Representative Lundine's in the room with the passage this year of House Bill 16-1423, which is lauded as the most aggressive data privacy bill in the nation. Implementing that will be, I think, a good step in the right direction to protecting kids' personally identifiable information. We know that we have a P20 system, and we have a lot of data points, way too many in my view. And the question is, how do we protect that and the sharing of that information so as not to end up tracking and bucketing kids so that their opportunities are somehow truncated by these data, and also to ensure that those data aren't sold, not shared without parental permission and consent. So it's such an important bill, and there are many legal intricacies, and I didn't know if Brad wanted to speak to that.
All these legal intricacies, I don't know about that. I had another thing, but
Yeah.
maybe you've got other questions. I want to
Okay,
keep us.
two more questions, and then we'll turn it over. But go ahead, please.
I wanted to say, look, first, I don't like any new legislation. We should just, have those guys work for a week or two and then be done for the year. But I do see some fertile ground in the area of our rural school districts who are facing enormous challenges with getting licensed teachers, meeting all the regulatory obligations. Jason, do you have any regulatory obligations at AVA that you need to deal with? I mean, charter schools and rurals have to basically hire a full-time, equivalent to meet the federal and state and CDE regulations. There's some opportunity with the rurals to impact that, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that develops this year. I think that would be a big push.
Great.
I was meeting with some superintendents over the weekend. This gentleman said that they have 87 reports to write every year. And it's just oppressive. And so some would say that regulation is the path to reform. In another sense, it isn't. And so that level of regulatory burden really takes away from what a leader can do for innovation in the school, and it really takes away from time that could be spent on instructional excellence. And so that level of regulation, I think, is very difficult to function within and still be committed to quality.